Executive summaries, a brief guide. What is an executive summary? Basically, it's a short summary of a longer document designed to be read by busy executives who either don't have time to read the longer document and need to get the gist of it, or need to decide whether or not to make time to read the longer document. So they need to get the gist of it so they know should they invest more time. So the basics. Why are you writing an executive summary? What are you trying to achieve? The goal is to try to get the reader to say, this is interesting, it has potential, these people know what they're doing, and I want to get in on the action, at least if what they told me was accurate. So you want to intrigue the reader so that they actually want to invest the time in the longer report. And if they don't, you want to make sure that they have all the key information. How long should the executive summary be? Well, it depends on how long the material is that you're summarizing. It shouldn't be any longer than 3 pages, no matter how big it is. But you may be summarizing a 10-page report, in which case 3 pages is almost a third of it, and that's way too much. So the rule of thumb is basically 5 to 10% of the total amount of the document that you're summarizing. What is the format? Short, concise paragraphs written in the same order as the full plan. So whatever the longer document is, follow that same order, but you're just giving the short abbreviated version. It's almost like you're taking notes on the longer document. And you always write an executive summary in the third person. So what are the common parts? So this is the things that are most often included in an executive summary, and this is the order they should go in. Now this is most often because you could be doing different kinds of reports, and not all of these sections might be in there. You might be doing a much shorter report that would not include all of this. You could do an executive summary of almost any kind of larger report, but there are certain ones that it's more common to include an executive summary. So the most common parts are a basic summary. So in one paragraph, you just say, this is what we're saying in this report. A description of the company. This would be as if the executive summary and report was going to an outside company. So then you would include a brief description of your organization. Market analysis, if it has to do with any kind of sales. Organization description. The management team. The product line if you're producing a product, marketing plan if you're producing a product, funding request and use. So if you're requesting money, what are you asking for and what are you going to use that money for? And financial projections, either sales or if you're requesting money, then what do you see happening financially for your organization if the funding is received? All right, start strong. The most important part is the first paragraph. If that first paragraph isn't good, someone is not going to continue reading. So you want to approach it as in somebody could read the executive summary and not have to read the report and have the gist of it, and then someone could read the first paragraph and not even read the rest of the executive summary and still have the gist of what is in the report. And then everything else is more details, explanations. Somebody's interested, let me go look at the financial plan, let me go look at their resources, they can go look at particular things, or they can be interested enough to read the whole thing. One way to think about it is your executive summary needs an executive summary. That first paragraph needs to compel the reader to read the rest of the summary. So your goal is to get them to read the rest, but it also should contain enough information that if they don't read the rest, they still know what's going on. Things to look out for. Pay special attention to the problem you're solving and your solution and any traction you have so far. Meaning, if you've got any leverage that makes this more likely to work, particularly with the people who are reading the summary, go ahead and emphasize that. Once it's written, make sure you get outside feedback before submitting it to avoid any major mistakes. Having mistakes in the executive summary is a huge issue. Some executive read yours and there's a typo or there's an error in your data. They're throwing the whole thing out and probably your career with it. Remember, the most important reason to include an executive summary is that in many cases it is the only thing the reader will read. So keep that in mind as you're writing it. That's it. Like an executive summary, this lesson is short.